I'm tired. I don't want to go
Well,
there.
Iowa's passe.
he definitely wasn't going to win New York, and that's like, so.
Yeah, when
Okay.
you lose your home state.
He looks like Nosferatu to me.
Yes.
You know? I don't think that was the actual name of the vampire in Nosferatu, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he looks like
He has
way,
that appearance.
He also said at one point, not here, but he said at one point, I'm not questioning Obama's patriotism, I'm questioning his love of country.
That's right.
That says everything you need to know about Rudy Giuliani right there. That's how stupid he is.
Why doesn't he just tattoo stupid to his forehead to save time, you know?
He probably should.
May damage his performance.
He's got plenty of forehead to do it on.
Jim Acosta, he believes what he said. He doesn't regret what he said. He is explaining he didn't really apologize. Do you don't think that these comments were somehow tinged by race at all?
Oh, now you're doing it.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you. I'm not saying that it is.
Not.
I'm asking you because you mentioned it. You mentioned
No, but
race.
it does get thrown. No, okay. But it does get thrown at conservatives an awful lot. And why isn't that the exact
Okay, how
parallel?
the fuck could you not throw it at conservatives an awful lot? They inexplicably hate a president that basically, if you actually look at his policies, has basically been a George Bush clone, except for on like a few social issues. But they act like he's the worst, most dictatorial, communist, socialist, fascist, Nazi ever to exist. And the only thing you can really point to as a difference is he's black and he has a D next to his name. Now maybe the D next to his name accounts for some of that.
So I think that when you look at this, you have to compare it to something, and the best thing to compare it to is probably Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton, yeah, they really did hate him. They really fucking hated him. But it is true, I think, that specifically with Obama, not only is it an equal amount of hate, it's like an equal amount of hate, and then there's also like 3 or 4 tiny little other issues that can only be explained by race. So, the fact that they keep bringing up the
birth
Muslim
certificate
thing and the birth certificate, like there's no other way to explain that. You can't just pawn that one off to him being a Democrat. And actually, I'm willing to be somewhat charitable, I guess you could say, in my interpretation to the right on this, in the sense that I only want to bring up the race card when there's overwhelming evidence and there's really no other explanation. But even when we use the strictest standard, there are still a handful of issues where there is no other explanation.
And I remember back in the day when Palin was running for vice president with John McCain, they went to a few Palin rallies. By they, I mean, just YouTubers with cameras showing up to these rallies to talk to people. And, there was tons of just overt racism, like, we got to stop this Negro from becoming president, basically. And it's like, how do you explain that? And every time I talk to conservatives, like intelligent conservatives, I always ask them, like, how do you deal with all these like ignorant racist element in your party? And they're like, I've never seen that. I'm like, bullshit, you've never seen that.
Yeah, I think Lee Doran was one of the people that just totally denied that the Tea Party, especially.
Yeah, the Tea Party had
racist.
no racists in it. It's like, so who am I going to believe, Lee Doran or my lying eyes and ears?
Right.
Yeah, it's certainly an issue. But like I said, just so we don't end up having to play defense when we shouldn't have to play defense, I only bring up the race card when I know it's the case. And
sure,
the specific examples of that are the birth certificate, saying he's born in Kenya, calling him a Muslim. There are some issues where there's literally no other explanation, so you have to bring it up. I don't know how you don't bring it up. And by the way, like if you're around people who are fairly conservative and they think you're one of them, let's say, I think people underestimate casual racism. Like I think there's a lot of casual racism in America. Not like you don't have to be Bull Connor, sicking dogs on black people in the South in order to be a racist. There's a lot of like, well, you know how they are, like that they're not the same as us. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that goes on in the country, and I've seen it myself. I've seen it with like